Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed me. Good morning, you guys. Hold on. I'm trying to do something. You know I'm on the phone again, right? Hold on. But I don't, marketing. I don't, wait a minute. Hold on. You know I tell y'all everything. Okay, done. Now what do you do? Oh, Lord. I'm trying to, oh, there it is. Okay. There you go. All right, let me just check that out. Givermarketing.com. Oh, suck it. Oh, okay. Listen, you see, I'm still in the garage. I mean, the remote studio. Top of the morning to you. Look at this. Clearly, I spilled the coffee as I scurried through the hallways of this mansion in the dark, trying to get out here to the garage. I mean, studio. Ding, if I had my bell of purpose. I am still here. Thank you, God, in San Diego, Escondido, to be precise, up in the hills. And anyway, welcome to today's show. Welcome to Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris. And yes, I am at the XP. Wait a minute. It's an acronym. I don't, these kids and these names. XP, EP. Is it X? Anyway, RP, Red Pill Experience. RP, XP for Experience. Thank you. Because I was at the Accelerator Business Summit last week. Getting old, I'm getting old. That was almost a senior moment. Anyway, we're here today because I have a great guest for you, even remotely. You are going to learn so much from all directions today. I don't have any announcements because I'm trying to do all this stuff on my phone. Unfortunately, we're up in the hill. Well, fortunately, because the view was awesome. But when it comes to internet, and you all know, so I don't have to explain it. So anyway, I'm having to do it from my phone, but hey, by any means necessary. Let me tell you something. The promise that where two or more of us comes together and we have that mindset, you hear me say it all the time, that heart set, we are in agreement for what our goals are, our intentions through this experience. When that happens, spiritual magic comes out of the spigot of life. Can I get an amen? And so it doesn't matter what you have to deal with. You just have to deal with it. So can I get an amen on that? Look at me putting the banners up. And look at these fingers, right? And I'm on the phone. I'm surprised 6 banners aren't playing right now. Right? So look at that. Did it twice. Good morning, beautiful. Y'all look great. Boy, am I glad I have y'all in my life, especially when I'm not at home with the creature comforts and whatnot. It makes me feel so peaceful to know that we are here again together. So thank you for that. Today, I have a wonderful guest, and I'm just going to get him in here because I should have just had him take over the show while I was out here. His name is Timothy Morgan. Hi, Martha. There's one of the event goers coming. What's she doing up roaming around this early in the morning? Anyway, she's one of my coaching clients. She's here. I'm trying to be fancy. Timothy Morgan is here, and he's got so much great. Listen, if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, an at-home mom, whatever you're doing, you're trying to make your living and create your impact in the world. You know, a lot of us know that marketing is a piece of it. And it's just like accounting. It's one of those pieces that a lot of us don't really relish getting into, or we're just not very good at it. But thank God oh shit, wait, come back. Oh Lord, wait a minute. Hold on, oh my goodness. Did I say shit on the air? Hold on. Where? Wait a minute. Oh, Lord. Okay, wait. Stop. Okay. All right, I'm back. Hi, Tia. Hi, Sherry McQueen. Hi, everybody. I hit a button and everything disappeared. And then that's what I get for bragging. I used one of these everlasting gobstoppers and it went even worse. So I'm going to quit playing and lightly, I'm going to use my pinky finger, which really looks like a big toe. Wait a minute. What am I doing? Okay, I'm bringing Timothy in. Oh, I know, but I want to do the red carpet thing with him. It's his first time here. We're really fortunate to have this guy. He's hard to get, and he doesn't just show up anywhere for just anybody. Seriously, he's very particular about the audience he serves, and he should be, but he's here for us today. So listen, we're about to roll out the red carpet virtually. Please put some hearts on the screen and help me welcome our guest today. Marketing guru, Timothy Morgan. Here he comes. Look at me. I'm looking for the buttons. I'm not kidding you. Everything's like this.
Hey, what that was earlier was the typical pattern interrupt, my friend. That was amazing. That was awesome. Let's go. This is
My
good.
heart is pounding. Right. I'm like, okay, I can chill now. We're in here. I'm not changing shit. I'm serious. I'm not hitting all the bells and whistles. I'm just gonna sit my ass right here and we're gonna have a conversation. Is that okay?
Coffee conversation. Let's
I know
do
it. I know it. So how are you?
So good, man. It's been good to get to know you and your story and just kind of travel with you a little bit. And this is a privilege. I've been looking forward to this. I'm telling you what. Oh my goodness. You have no idea.
I'm so sorry I'm not at home in the studio where we could really get down, but we'll have you back. Definitely, we'll have you back. Now, what event because it's been a busy end of summer for me. Can you remind me which event we met at? Was it?
You know what? We actually had the privilege of being introduced by a mutual friend. And then we ended up on each other's calendars and we were trying to figure out how this happened. And then we got to know each other and then started communicating. And then we were like, you know what? We should have each other on each other's shows. Like, let's just do that. This is
so I didn't meet you at an event?
No, man, we're going to do that later. Remember, we were talking about that too. But yeah, we're going to do that later. Yes.
No wonder I was like, now picture him on the stage. What was he doing? Right. Okay. So let me guess. Was her last name Dean?
100%.
She is 100%. The networking diva for real.
She is the real deal. Yep.
Oh, she was on, I think, last week or Monday before I came here. I don't remember. It's all a big blur. Right. I'm so glad. Yes. So, Tim, I'd like to do a little thing, and I'm not, well, maybe I could do it, where I'm going to let you just have a moment. I'm going to dip out and let you just say hello, create your own vibe with the viewers, and then I'll pop back in. So I said,
buckle up, ladies and gentlemen.
I know. I said I wasn't going to do anything. Okay, I figured out how to do it. So and if the internet should boot me off at any time during the hour, you keep going because they will still be able to hear and see you. So I'm going to dip. You say hello, and then I'll come back in. Okay, I'm out.
Thank you, Dr. Lauren. Appreciate you.
All you.
Oh, this is good. We were just talking about stories earlier, and it's a privilege to be able to share my story and a little bit of the journey that's brought me here to serve you, have some conversation with you, light up all the comments. I want to see them. I want to connect with you. And listen, I came from a pretty conservative, pretty low-key family. I was born in Dallas, Texas. Kind of just learned from my mom and dad how to do life right. And then I started serving in the nonprofit world, became a community leader, started a business at the age of 16, had a little bit of both going, kind of one foot in the nonprofit world and one foot in the business world. Then I realized about 10 years ago, I better pick a lane. I better get focused here. So I started a marketing agency to serve both. And what ended up happening is I was actually in a moment in my life where I call it a midlife reset. I know Dr. Lauren talks about this quite a bit, where there's just those unexpected curveballs. They just come. And this was a time when everything was falling apart in my life. Everything I had expected kind of started crumbling away. And then God put it all back together. It's just so interesting how this happens, right? So I ended up starting a marketing agency to kind of reinvent myself so I could serve all these folks I've been hanging out with for a long time. I ended up investing in this little thing, this crazy little thing called Bitcoin, and then ended up developing the business in a very different way. Clients started asking me for coaching, and so I focused on marketing and helped them with their coaching and all these kind of things. And then at the end of the day, I've been called to help lonelypreneurs in the marketing space. And we've had this network, this group start to develop, Dr. Lauren. And it's just been a privilege to be able to serve this community, coming out of my pain, out of my brokenness, focusing in on the marketing space. And now we all get together and work on projects together. And gosh, we became the highest rated, reviewed group of marketing professionals on the planet. It's it's such a privilege. Yeah,
it is. And I love what you said, and you guys put that in your mental notebook. about how, my friend, I just thought about what Jason Cisneros told me once. And it really flipped the switch for me. He said, Lauren, man, I swear to goodness, you're the one guy that, you can be walking around with a dinosaur turd in your hand, and all of a sudden you crack it open and there's a diamond in the middle. And that's really what you were saying. And I think that that's a great perspective, because you guys, you hear, I say it all the time, stay encouraged and in a perpetual state of expectancy, because it is never about just one thing. If you would really just wrap your soul around that, you would see that when things don't feel good, okay, well, that's one of the two, or that's one of the many, or that's one of the few, but it is not the only thing. So, and whenever you realize that, even if it's a great thing, it doesn't mean the other shoe is about to fall. I don't buy that. It just means you could have won a double showcase. Let's put it that way. Okay, so thank you for that. Let's go back to somewhere near the beginning, the ripe old age of 16 for you. You said you started your first business. Then, what was it? What were you doing? What kind of work?
All right, so I was working at a job as a sandwich artist, and those who understand the art of making a sandwich, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I was working at one of those famous sandwich shops that we might be able to say on air, we might not be able to, but bottom line
Subway.
is, there it is right there. So I was there just learning how to be a young man trying to work, and then one of my friends from school said, "Hey, you want to go clean some windows for one of our teachers? They want to pay us a bunch of money to go clean their windows." And then we started a window cleaning business literally the next week. I made more in one weekend than I did the entire month at Subway. And so I realized, maybe I could do more of this. And 20,000 windows later, I ended up selling that business. And it was just an amazing journey of learning how to lead, learning how to serve, learning how to just be involved in the community on a business level. It was just
Yeah.
what a privilege. Yeah, it was
You,
it was amazing.
you know what? We have that in common. That was my first job. I went out. Clearly, we were a lot more hungry in our household because I was 10. But I went to the Dairy Queen and asked if I could wash their windows once a week. And they let me do it on Sundays because I couldn't do it they wanted Saturdays, but we were 7-day Adventists. So my mom was not having that. You ain't doing that or nothing on the Sabbath. So anyway, but the interesting part was just a couple weeks ago, a young man, African-American man, knocked on my door. He was a high school student. I was like, why you ain't in school? He said, because he's like, can I wash your windows around your house? And I'm looking out, see a trucker now. He's got this long thing, right? And a bucket and some stuff that he's using to mix up. He goes, listen, my family is trying to move. My parents dropped me off. And matter of fact, their car was still down at the corner because I'm looking. Right. And he goes, and we're trying to move. And so I took the day off school, and I've done 2 houses already. And I'm just trying to help get the money for my family so we can move. And he did my windows. I mean, he knocked them out. Right. And then when it was time to pay him, I was like, he was in my kitchen. I was like, well, that window's dirty. He goes, sir, that's on the inside. And I was like, oops, right? But I know. And I was like, damn. But it just reminded me about how important and how much of a standout the things we think are just temporary or this don't mean shit, or we end up down the road saying what a big piece of our future they were before we even knew what our future was. So thank you for that. So what did you, when you sold the business, what did you think you were going to do in this world? Were you going to go off to college? Were you going to just keep doing it? And then take us into your definition. I've never heard it until I read your bio, lonelypreneur. And I don't think that's something most people say, oh, I'm one. It's almost like, yeah, oh, yeah, I'm one. So tell us take us from when you segued from the 16-year-old that sold the business into the person you are today, and how that drove you to this terminology of the market you serve today, known as the lonelypreneur.
So I'm the firstborn of 3 kids, and I was always experimenting, trying different things. That we all need to experiment. That's part of creativity of life, right?
Sure.
So I ended up serving in the nonprofit world and business world. But then at the end of the day, after I sold the window cleaning business, I realized I need to find something that really can leverage these kind of door knocking skills, these sales and marketing skills. And eventually I ended up getting a position at a church ministering. But then I also
Wow.
had this tendency to really communicate well in marketing and outreach and serving people through communication. And so it became this lifelong love of learning how to communicate with class, not spam people or bother people without a reason or those kind of things. And so this marketing company became kind of this brainchild of like, okay, how can I serve both communities with class? And so after I sold the business, basically what I ended up doing is learning the art of serving those folks who of the organizations that I used to lead.
Oh, because you knew their mindset, you knew their mission, you knew if they were heart centered, and I saw that in your bio. That stood out to me, that you serve heart centered organization. So that tells me right there, you're not just going to, get in bed with any old body. And I want you to talk about that today too. How, like grandmama used to say, all money ain't good money. Seriously, because I'm learning even here at this event that I'm at, that a lot of it has to do with the intent. The intention needs to be bigger than the dollar sign. The heart intention needs to be bigger than the dollar sign, which means the dollar sign should stand behind it. When I'm looking at what this is, this opportunity, I should see the service piece. And then if I get on a ladder or walk around and look around the edge, I'll see the dollar sign, because that comes as a residual. Because the experience, the value is in the intention of being of service, like we see on the screen. So let me ask you this. When a lot of people, when you say, y'all know it's true out there, put it in the comments. When we hear marketing, we think of those spam calls, all those emails you get, that last chance, Lauren. Lauren, I dreamed about you last night. All those, and I click on that when you did. Right? What were we doing? but all the different gimmicks. And I am really, let's talk about this piece, because I am not that, I don't think I'm that good at marketing. I don't feel it's one of my skill sets, but what I do know is that I never want to enter into anything with there being an angle. I don't want ulterior motives, and I don't want to be in that category, snake oil or slippery salesman, that kind of thing. So let's talk about that, and tie it into, who is this lonelypreneur? Is this the person who ain't making no money?
Not always, but I tell you what, the pain of loneliness in the business world or even in the ministry world or the nonprofit world, any of these spaces where you're leading from a place of loneliness is not okay. It's promoted in certain cultures. It's promoted in certain cultures to do it yourself, be a self-made person, be a just go get it done, just have enough grit to do this. But I'm telling you, if you're on this journey where you're just starting with an idea and find yourself a team, hang out with Dr. Lauren, find your power partners, find your positive people to be around you all the time. You cannot do something significant by yourself. It is not, it's not okay. I found myself basically building this business because I would read all the books and I listened to a bunch of people say, you can just do it yourself. You can just do it yourself. And there's some things you can experiment with yourself. That's fine. But once you get your idea, your focus, find yourself a stinking team. Like, let's go and really take it to another level. And sometimes I think we do things alone because we're insecure. We don't know if our idea is good or great. And
Correct.
you don't know that until you get some feedback from your friends and associates and others around you anyway. So just get yourself a starting team and go, like, make it happen. So that's what I ended up doing. And it changed everything. And so now we serve the lonelypreneur in the marketing space specifically.
Okay. So how Dude, that sounds like not such an easy nut to crack. Because lonelypreneurs, I'm just assuming, but because I've been there, and I'll be honest with you, at least 4 or 5 days a month, I fall into that category myself.
Sure.
And usually it's by choice, and it's because I don't. I'll tell you when it happens for me, honestly. Thank God for mentors, because oftentimes when I find myself, I question, I'm intimidated a lot by people that are smarter than me, that have more money than me, that seem to just have it all together. But then when you do find the courage to like say, can I pick your brain or can I ask you a question? You find out that it's not as cut and dry as you thought beforehand when they break it down. And usually they will break it down because they're comfortable in their own skin. They know the art of being vulnerable and transparent. So let's talk about that. When you find your ideal client and they find you, what is the first thing you do to start empowering them, to convince them that you are more than you believe yourself to be in this moment?
So when I have a conversation with somebody, I look for three things: high character, high competence, and high ability to collaborate. If those three things are present in a natural conversation where we're swapping stories, like you and I have before, and even today, and just kind of sharing a little bits of our stories,
Yeah.
if I can sense that high character, high competence, and ability to work with others in the room, like when we're having that conversation, then I begin asking more questions around their story, find out what really drives them. One of my coaches, and I'm sure you share this with people as they're trying to find their purpose and focus and their calling and different things, is tell me a little bit of your long-term vision. I just ask them
King.
questions. Like, just, 5, 10 years from now, what are you doing? Just paint the canvas for me with words. Like, just tell me, what does it look like? I don't need to know the numbers and the all the accolades and all that. I just need to know what you're doing. Like, how are you impacting the world? And so
Right.
I began to find and see if somebody's a person of purpose, like what you talk about a lot, Dr. Lauren. And I find out if they're heart centered, they're mission driven. These kind of key words start popping out. Like, for example, I love working with causes and companies doing good in the world. If somebody is using that language, I'm like, okay, they got a value driven vision. Write that down, ladies and gentlemen. I want a value driven vision. If you have a vision that's based on how you paint the world with your goodness, with your awesomeness, with your superpowers, come on, that's Dr. Lauren territory. I got to be careful. That's beautiful stuff right there. But then there's a second question and a third question that I always ask. The second question is, what is your challenges? If somebody's not willing enough to be humble and transparent and vulnerable, like you were saying earlier, to share just a little bit of the challenge. What's the current challenge? This is not sneaky, slimy sales tactics. It's a literal curiosity question. Be authentic with your questions, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's the best way to go, just like Dr. Lauren is. Ask about challenges and frustrations. What's bothering you right now so I can introduce you to somebody or pray for you or do something. Like,
Yeah.
let's figure this out together in a few minutes, even if it's something small, that's fine. Let's just be real with each other, and I'll even share my challenges right in the middle of the conversation, just to kind of make sure the conversation is
That's
going back and
key.
forth. Just be real. Just be real with people, authentic, like you talk about all the time, Dr. Lauren. And then number three, it's vision, challenges, and then I do get to the 12-month goals. Like, what do you got written down that you can measure? I just need to know, what are you measuring? Like, are you measuring like people you talk to, how much money you got in the bank account, how many people you impact, how many folks show up to a building, how many folks show up to your business? Like, what are you tracking? Like, what's actually important to
There
you?
it is. I love that term,
Those
tracking.
those are the three questions I love asking. It
But
just helps.
here's the deal, because I was pretending in my mind, and it wasn't that hard to do because it still happens. I'm just keeping it real. It happens even when I'm on a call where somebody's trying to sell me their service, like PR or something, and I already know I can't afford them, right? But I'm sitting there trying to throw out and I know
I need it. I need what they offer, but it may not be the time, but I still find myself trying to blow the resume up, you know. And so what I'm getting at is it's not so easy when you open the door and you give people permission to be vulnerable, because so many of us are afraid of what you will think. He won't want to work with me, or it's too good to be true, and I'm just going through the motions. It sure feels good to have somebody talking to me about this stuff. A, a year ago, I couldn't even have this meeting, but now I am. So that's what they measure. Well, at least I know how to find this person now. But when I have truly just been vulnerable, Tim, can I call you Tim?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. Seriously, it has served me well. I remember when I wanted my very first cover of a magazine, and it wasn't for the picture. I knew there was sacred space within it, within that opportunity known as the cover story. And it was at the front end of my career, and I wanted it for the Power of We Symposium. I didn't want it for Lauren, but I wanted it for that. And one of my coaching clients had an article in this particular magazine. She sent me the cover so I could see her name at the bottom, and I never even got down there. I was on the cover before I found out that she had sent me the cover because she was in it. And she was like, "Aren't you glad I sent you that magazine I was in?" I was like, "What magazine were you in?" She's like, "What'd you say?" Right? So, but here's the deal. My point was, when I tracked down, something was pulling and saying, "You can have this." And I was like, "Based on what? Don't worry about it. You can have this. Is this a setup? I'm scared. Do it anyway. I can't. Jump and grow your wings, asshole." That was a conversation I was having with what is great to me. So I did. And in that same day, in the morning, I got the picture of the cover. By the time I went to bed that night, I was booked to be a cover. And I will never forget. Thank you, Dr. Vicky Omafalaji what was the name of the magazine? Senior Moment for Real. Uh, Wait a minute. It'll come to me. It was my first cover. See, who would think you would ever forget your first cover? It's temporary. Anyway, I asked her, Global Achievers, thank you, God. So Global Achievers magazine, stories of achievement through adversity. And I called her, she goes, "Lauren, I tracked her. First I Googled it, then I got her on LinkedIn. She responded, connected. I said, "Can I get a few minutes today?" She said, "Yes." And then she said, "I have 15 minutes, Lauren." You guys have heard this story before. She goes, "I have 15 minutes, I have a hard stop." At 12 minutes, I finally found a pair. And I said, "Hey, Vicky, what's it going to take for me to be on your cover?" And she goes, "Oh, Lauren, you had the cover 11 minutes ago." And I will never forget that. And here I am 9 covers later, and every single one of them, I didn't pay for a one. I asked for each one of them. I asked for each one of them. And so the reason I went through all that and took all that time was to say this. When you folks find yourselves on calls with someone like Timothy, who is asking you, what hurts? Where does it hurt? Tell daddy where it hurts. You know, like when you have a lot of kids too, they're behind you on the wall. And you know, right? When your kids, they might, "Well, I don't feel good." Well, where's it hurt? And they point to it. You may not even know what to call what he is asking, but you can point to it. My bank account hurts. You know, my Rolodex hurts. Whatever it is. So let me ask you this, Tim. Let's say, give us a percentage, 1 out of 5 or 2 out of 10. When you have these initial discovery calls with people and you get to that point where you ask the question we've been talking about, how often do you see the person or feel the person struggle with their answer? And why do you think that is?
I think a lot of people answer the vision question with the goals answer. So the first thing I'm looking for is, can you articulate your vision? Like, um, I want to see a world of causes and companies shaping culture for good. That's my vision. That's the vision of the company I founded, Giver Marketing Network, and that's what we're doing as a tribe. Like that's what we're not messing around. We work with very specific groups that are doing very specific things. People like you, Dr. Lauren, that are changing the world. Like that's how we do it. If somebody gets through that vision question and they're not able to answer or articulate a pain, a problem, a hurt, a frustration, a challenge of any kind, then I know that we haven't built enough trust for us to work together. It's just
Mm.
It's not even a judgment thing. It's just a timing thing. It's just we haven't gotten vulnerable enough. Sometimes I'll even share my challenges. Like right now, we're looking at more administration and operations in our network. We're nearly 100 members, growing to 1,000. We're growing to 1,000. So we need more administration and operations and systems minds in our network. So that's our challenge right now. That's my challenge. That's not one of my strengths is administration. So these are real pain points. Like this is real stuff, right? So this is not like, oh, sometimes I don't feel like going for a walk or something. Like no. Like what's a real challenge? Like explain it to the best of your ability. Get as vulnerable as you can, and it's painful, but it's so worth it. And then if somebody is able to answer that question, then we're off to the races. Then I can just start asking questions about like, okay, so what are your goals? Have you heard of a SMART goal? Look that up, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Lawrence probably mentioned it before, but look up a SMART goal and what that is, because that will change your life.
Actually, Dr. Lauren didn't.
Okay.
And inquiring minds want to know.
I'm
Tell us what a
telling you.
SMART goal is.
All right, so there's slightly different definitions of it, but I'm gonna give you like the basic, like just go look it up. SMART. It's an acronym. Acronym, yes. It's an acronym that helps you develop your goals with clarity, and that clarity comes from having a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, time bound. Some people say it's realistic instead of relatable, but either way.
Is
So
time bound the same as time sensitive?
it's time sensitive, but it's detailed in how it's written down or discussed.
Okay.
And it's timely, it's time bound, it's time sensitive. Yes.
Okay. So it's not just any day, someday. That shit that ain't on anybody's calendar.
Yes, it's detailed in a timely sense. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. I get it. That makes sense.
And this is not necessarily my superpower. I'm just asking the question to see if somebody has thought through this, because somebody who's running a business, leading a family, an organization of any kind, we all need to be challenged by our mentors and our friends and our associates and our team members, even our employees, with these questions. What's the vision? What are our current challenges? And what's the 12-month goals, ladies and gentlemen, so we can all go make a difference in the world. And I don't wake up every morning just hoping life happens to me. I wake up like you, Dr. Lauren. I want to make life happen for the positive for somebody else. It might be one person, it might be 1,000 people. But the point is I'm waking up with a mission and a purpose to help you. And if it's not in line with that vision, maybe we don't work together. And if you can't share it with me, your challenges, and I haven't shared mine yet, maybe we're not meant to work together right now, maybe later. But if you can answer those questions and then get a little bit articulate about the goals, oh snap, then we're on a TV show together, if you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
I just had a download, and I'm gonna go on with it. I'm not gonna question it. I just heard that you've had the opportunity several times that wherein someone wanted to work with you badly. Money wasn't an issue, need wasn't an issue, but the heart-centered, the giver piece was missing, and they just couldn't get it. And talk about that. How do you that's like somebody asking you out and you say, oh, how sweet, but I don't think so. And what's wrong with me? How do you turn that to kind of compel the person or people to go out and find that missing giver piece? Because I know in my journey and in my work, when I come across someone who does not get it's just me, Marsha, it's kind of hard sometimes to explain to them what we mean by that giver mentality. Talk about how you deal with that, and how can a person know where that resides within them?
Ooh, That's a deep question. This is a good question. One of the best questions I've had on a show, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is a really good question. So, when you're in a conversation with somebody and the conversation has more I's, me's, and my's in it,
Mm,
then
dang.
makes you feel comfortable. If you know what I'm saying, everybody knows what I'm saying. Put it in the
Marsha,
comments.
Marsha.
Put Marsha in the comments. We all know what you're saying. I had a conversation recently with a gentleman. I'm not going to say his name, his industry, or nothing. Doesn't matter. That's not the point. He said, I, me, or my 21 times in 3 messages.
Wow. That's a lot.
I'll look, when I'm sharing my story, I'll say the word I, me, my, because it's my story. But other than that, I'm not going to pitch you with me, my accolades, this, that, and another thing. I'm going to share my story. You share your story. And if there's alignment, we go to the next step. Now, listen, if somebody's not ready to be part of a giver mission or a purpose driven this or a altruistic or a good direction for their business and helping others, I've had conversations. Again, I'm not going to say the industry, but certain particular people will say, hey, I'm just in it for the money. Great. We're not a good fit. I'm just letting you know. I've worked with billion-dollar companies, and I've worked with startups. But here's the common thing. The people in the room are not in it just for the money. They're in it for the people behind the money. They're in it for those people they're serving. The money comes. It comes like water. It just flows when you start serving people. Like, it's like digging a well. All of a sudden, just it just comes, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if somebody's not in it to serve others and have a purpose beyond themselves, I, me, and my, the Marsha effect. I'm going to use that. That's really good. Then I basically just say, look, it's not the right time. We only work with causes and companies doing good in the world.
Yeah.
This is my story. This is your story. It's just not quite, we're not quite ready to work with each other. I've said that before, and they'll come back around 2 years later, 1 year later, be like, I think I'm ready. Let's go. I found a little bit of soul. I found a little bit of purpose. I found a little bit of emotion that drives me to do what I'm doing. It's not just about these little pieces of paper that the government makes up.
Thank you. And I'm gonna tell you something I found that helps get to the ooey gooey chewy center of that Tootsie Pop,
Mm-hmm.
known as your purpose. I just simply I get right to it. It probably happened when we first got on our call together. I asked people, can you describe to me what experience is it that you provide on a daily basis that is designed to ease suffering in the world? And it's that word, the term, what experience? Because it's not the product, it's the how you get it to them. It's what they get once they have it. It's that thing that baptizes people in something where they go, I think I love the way this tastes, I'll take a platter of that. That sort of a thing. So I want to ask you this. What would you say personally for you yourself, Timothy Morgan? What is that thing that really lights your fire, that you cannot and will not live without, that enables you to get up and be of service to the world, where you literally ease suffering, and what do you have implemented so that when you don't wake up this guy that we see on the screen, because not everybody wakes up. Some days we wake up and it's raining. The sun isn't out every day. So, but what have you put in place? Some people call it grounding. Everybody has a different thing. But what do you keep within reach? I'm not saying in the safe deposit box of the universe where you got to go and they walk you back to the room and leave you when in reach. Because sometimes it happens when you least expect it, and you got to know, there it is. I got it. I got it right here. I thought you called me, didn't you? Nope.
All right. I wasn't planning on going here, Dr. Lauren, but you asked the question. So here I go. Okay.
Yay.
So in the nonprofit world, I was a pastor. Okay.
Okay.
So there's a big difference between having a set of beliefs and a religious system that you're used to running with. There's a big difference between that and a lifestyle of actual communication with the creator of the universe, with God, with Jesus, with if you actually have an actual meaningful relationship with a higher power that's bigger than yourself, and
Yep.
you understand you are not the biggest deal in the world by yourself. That you're it's not just about you. It's about something much bigger than you. If you have a conversation with God in that way, your life will never be the same. There's an epidemic of loneliness in the world, disconnectedness
Yeah.
in the world. When you start talking about this conference you're at, and some of my friends start talking about their conferences that they're at, and maybe I'm going to speak at a conference, I want friends with me. I want people around. I want to go hang out together and be in their proximity, or at least on a show together, or do something together that's meaningful.
Fellowship.
Fellowship of some kind. Now, listen, I'm allergic to religion, but I'm a big fan of relationship.
Yeah. Ooh, ding. I'm ringing the bell.
Big fan
Right.
of relationships. So, and that means with you and me. That means with those that we're getting to know in the audience. That means that different family members. That means relationship with God. The principles are the same. Have communication. Listen more than you talk. Ask good questions. It's a lot like relationship 101. If we don't have that, don't even talk about God. Honestly, if you don't have a relation like a conversational type relationship, don't pretend like you need to be talking about God, because all you're doing is spreading religion. That's religion never helped nobody. Now, there's something called pure religion where you're helping the orphans and the widows. There's only one time in the Bible or ancient scripture where they talk about religion in a positive way, and it's when you're doing something to help somebody else. That's it. Everything else is about relationship.
Yeah. That's so true. And a lot of people are, I know sometimes when I first start working with a person, a coaching client, one of the things I do with them is I'm very much into visualization, how we see things. Because when you see things, then you name things. And things that do not serve us parade around in our world without a name. What's wrong? Everything. Who did it? They did. So what's next? I don't know. Whatever. There's what is that? What does it look like? Draw that. I'll tell them to draw that. So I like to encourage people is if our attributes, our the things that we feel make us the great person or people that we are, if those were articles of clothing, I feel that you can really find it in your business if you understand that the garment you wear in your personal life should coordinate with the garment you wear in your business life, that persona. So it's not, I wouldn't wear polka dots with stripes. You see what I'm saying? So make sure that what you're dressing yourself in, i.e. Christians call it the full armor, it should match. You should be wearing the garments. They should not be wearing you.
Ooh, write
Okay?
that down. Write that
Yeah.
one down. Yeah, I'm gonna write that one down.
Yeah, I really feel that way. So let me ask you, you're just continuing to add to your stable of offerings to help people be the best versions of themselves, these lonelypreneurs as they are. You're about to launch a book, you're building a book launch team. Talk about that, and how do you come to these new pivots that you find yourself? Do your existing clients say we need this, or do you look for the need amongst your existing clients or the world at large?
Well, we have thousands of existing clients because our network we function as one. We're like a collective of marketing professionals. We jump into it's a membership based thing, and we work together like a large agency, but we're all our own micro businesses. So we're not employees of each other. We're contractors, but we're not sub anything.
Ah,
We're mutually respected contractors that walk into the room together, and we
mutually respected.
extremely respected. Like, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you got character, competence, and collaboration in the marketing space, and you don't want to be alone anymore in your venture, let's go. We got A teams for you, all players all around. Let's just build you an A team and let's triple your business. Let's triple your impact. Let's go. Let's do this. So we have this like drive to help people help other people. And while you're doing that, you form your team. And it's just a very natural, organic way to turn on the Go Light. Like, it's really powerful. You can't buy enough ads or clicks or this to move the needle like what we do. So ultimately, when it comes right down to it, one of the things that I'm trying to do is get the word out about this collective, because we're going from 100 to 1,000. We're going to impact 1 million organizations for good through our marketing superpowers. We're going to pull all the levers. We often talk about branding, visibility, promotion, nurturing, these kind of things. They're needed for all kinds of businesses and organizations.
Sure.
But this book you mentioned, it's just a creative outlet for me. It's a fiction work that my friend Adam Fleming, he's the co-author. He's the one that wrote all the words. I gave him the concepts, and we worked on it together to some degree. But man, he just put this fictional. It's a business novella. If you've never heard of a business novella, this is going to be one of those. It's almost like a business novel will be like Atlas Shrugged, or there's shorter versions like 1 Minute Manager, or Who Moved My Cheese,
Oh, yeah, I read that.
or Go Giver, or some of these other books. They're like stories that stick in your mind for years and years. That's what we have, and we haven't launched it yet. This is the first time I've mentioned it publicly. It's going to be called Jade, the story of a rising real estate agent, and it's just this cool, like almost a movie in your mind while you're reading it. It's just amazing, and it's super fun. So anybody who wants to get involved with that, go to givermarketing.com. Find me. I want you on the team. You're going to learn about how books are published, how to leverage funding before you even publish them. You're going to learn how to work with a team. You're going to learn about marketing. You're going to learn, if you jump into this team, it's worth like $2,000 or $3,000 just to be on this team. Like, it's almost like a little mastermind kind of built in to the launch team. So we're going to have a lot of fun.
I love that. I think I want to talk to you about offering that to all of my coaching clients. Because, oftentimes people go, but I'm not trying to da-da-da. But I like to get into those things so that I have some basis of reference so that I can provide it to the people that I'm serving. It may not be for me, but not everything I do should be for me, which is perfectly suited for what you do overall. But I got a great question for you, because it's a little self-serving, but I truly want to know. I was thinking about, I use myself as an example, which is how I got to the question. I was like, I wonder, with what I do to market myself as a speaker, I have 2 VAs, one in the Philippines. Hi, Charlemagne, who does all my LinkedIn and LinkedIn Navigator. And then I have Victoria in Colombia. And I love these two, and they work together. And then I have my marketing team that I stole from Fiverr. I lured them out. Hey, can I meet you out back by the dumpster? Can you come outside just for a minute on your break? When you break?
That's right. That's right. When's your lunch break? Let's go.
I took them. I sure did. They still do stuff over there, but they brought their team to my team, and we kind of blended as a family, like this shirt. We're like a tie-dye. So I'm wondering, what about the person, i.e. myself, that would say, I wonder if Tim would be willing, can it work where my existing team comes and works with you and what you do to help, what we're already doing? A lot of people think they have to throw the bathwater out with the baby in order to work with a person like you. Clear that up for us if you could.
So let me explain how the actual collective or the network functions. We like to say we're like Upwork meets a network plus coaches built in. So someone like you, Dr. Lauren, or somebody similar to yourself who's trying to change the world, perfect fit for this conversation. So let's just have it. Let's just have it right here.
Right.
So there's 2 types of entrepreneurs that I've noticed in the marketing space. And by the way, when I define marketing, this is worth writing down. It's pre-decision communication. Anything that happens before a decision, a commitment, a sale, writing the check for funding, a fundraiser, an investment, any kind of commitment that's significant, anything that happens before that is marketing. Every period, every communication point. And listen, it's probably because I'm in marketing, but that's my broad definition of marketing. Okay. All right. So with that being said, if you're in the marketing space, that means you have a television show. That means you write books. That means you do graphic design. That means whatever, all the categories on Fiverr, Upwork, and all these other places. We are actually a community as opposed to a list of vendors. We're a community that actually works together. So what happens is we get the freelancers who are no longer lonelypreneurs. As soon as they step in, they're part of a team. They're part of a community, right? I was a pastor. How can I not develop a community? I was a lonelypreneur too. So that's what I didn't have a tribe. That's why how this all was formed. So those freelancers raise their hand constantly, say, can I be on your team, and your team? And so we all share each other's superpowers in the network. There's nobody owns somebody else. Nobody says you're full time, you can't go talk to so and so. Nobody
Right.
does any of that. You can bring your little team of 2 or 3 people or whatever it is, and that's not a little team. That's a cool team, right? That's
It's,
I mean that's a
hey,
good start.
it's better than it was
That's
for
right.
me.
Better than
And
doing
it
it
took a
all by
long time,
yourself.
Tim. I
Yep.
just in the last year did this.
Yep. Yep.
Charlemagne's been with me a year and a half, and Victoria is not even 4 months.
Come on.
Because
Yep.
I didn't feel smart enough. I didn't feel successful enough yet. All that crap shit. Those are like 2 words that mean the same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Crap shit.
Hey, listen, you're top 10% of the business world if you have a small team. Like that to me, that's like, yes, Dr. Lauren, we're all going in the right direction here. This is good. If you're somebody who has a small team, jump into the network as a team. We promise not to do anything weird or steal people, or we just share. We don't steal nothing. We just share. We just help each other build, and they can come under your membership and just kind of have this like, this is our little cluster, but we're playing all together. That's totally fine. It's like having sports teams or music teams at a music performance or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like they're all the little bands working together, and sometimes they share talent. Sometimes somebody steps up on the other stage when somebody else is
Right.
playing.
Let me
and they get
sit in
invited.
with you.
Let's sit
Can I
in with
jam
you.
with you?
Can I jam with you? Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
We do that kind of thing, but in the marketing world with teams and freelancers who say, "Hey, can I be on a team? Can I help with your team? Can I work on that, at least that project right there? Give me a chance. Let me sit in. Let me jam with you." That's what we do. That's
I love it.
like 90% of what we do. So whether you're a small team or a freelancer, we play matchy all the time.
So here's a big question. Again, it's selfish because I'm really asking for myself.
Okay.
We've got about 2 minutes left, and I just want to know. So what about a person that says, listen, I have a budget, because that's how I do it. It's like, because I know if I find a gifted person and whatever, I say, what budget are you working with? Because I'd rather help in a small way than wait and it never turn into any way. So let me ask you, with companies like yours, is that a possibility, or does a person have to have? Well, come back when you got 10K.
Hey, first of all, let's just I'm going to speak to the industry right now because this is really a really important question. First, if you have low overhead, you can technically do the same or more for less cost because of just the overhead. You just have less overhead. You don't have a big building to rent out and have employees with all sorts of employee taxes and vacation pay and all this other stuff. Like if your overhead is low enough, you can really do a lot with a little bit of finances.
Yeah.
Now that aside, ultimately, when it comes right down to it, there are 5 types of resources that we can exchange as payment for services and products.
Really?
We can exchange our time like a coach would. I'm going to exchange my time. I'm going to listen. I'm going to ask you good questions. We can exchange our talent. I've done $1 million in barter in my life. You can exchange all sorts
I
of
do
stuff,
that a lot.
right? Like find the match first and then offer the trade. But treasure, which is money, that's the easy one. That's like it comes and goes. It's like water. Like sometimes I got a bunch in my accounts.
It's not right.
I got no gut. But that's only one medium of exchange. It's not the whole enchilada, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Write this down: time, talent, treasure, and then don't forget about technology and things. Trade and exchange technology that others don't have. We're having a guest on one of our shows, which you're going to be on at some point next Tuesday, and they're talking about technology. There's ways to leverage technology, especially right now, that it just blows your mind. I wrote half of a book this weekend using this guy's technology. It was just insane. So technology, if you just open up the possibility, here, have access to this software, have access to this way of doing something through technology, have access to this. And then the last thing is kind of the old school, like, hey, if I got a car that I'm not driving no more, and you got marketing services, or you got this, or maybe I got a stage, an opportunity, a
Yeah.
show, I'll
Yeah.
trade you some time on the stage for some help with this. What's wrong with that? What's wrong
Okay.
with that?
I want a discovery call or whatever you call it call. Because I want to know more. I'm serious. I'm serious. And I'm just put this out there as we get out of here. I'm sorry you guys have kept you over a few seconds, but it was worth it. I hope. I know it was for me. So there goes that Marsha. Not really, but kind of. I just want to say this to the audience. A lot of you always ask, and I know because I hear it through the grapevine, how does he do it? How does he keep doing it? Like this. Don't be afraid of what you don't know, and don't be afraid of going where you've never been. I tell you this all the time. I'll never forget the day God said to me, Lauren, you know how simplistic I have made this for you, right? I was like, okay, I think, but can you make it clear? Am I coming in clear? Mike TV, who I met 4 weeks ago, from Willy Wonka. ADHD happening right now, ADHD. Listen, God said to me, Lauren, you can do anything you dream in this world, in this journey. You only have to do two things, and it really equates to one, because one is a washed for the other. I said, okay, I'm listening. He goes, get up every day and believe that you can find something to bring to this world that eases suffering that the world has never seen. And I said, okay, and the other one? Well, that means that you must get up every day and be willing to bring to the world a Lauren that you've never been. Take that with you today, you guys, and have a divine day. I know, right? I'm saying the universal might, right? And that's all it takes. So don't be afraid of what you're not, and quit being surprised by everything. If you're surprised when that blessing comes, it means you haven't even thought about what you're going to do with it when it gets there. Be in a perpetual state, remain in a perpetual state of expectancy. That way, when it shows up, you'll say, finally, I know what I'm going to do with you. Be that steward that you're asked to be, and watch what happens. Take that with you today. Timothy, thank you so much. Let's get on a call as early as next week. I really want some of this, I promise. And when you guys see that next pinnacle, that next milestone in Dr. Lauren's life, it could just be from what you've heard me put together right here today. Okay? Listen, get out today and find whatever you need to be your highest self in this day. Tomorrow's another day, another team, different angels, and everything you need to fight that day and fight your way to what it is you are supposed to do. So just stay in the now, stay in today, count your blessings, and I will meet you, God willing, tomorrow morning over on the front porch, and together we'll have another illuminated conversation. I love you guys. I tell you that every day, and there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Timothy, great job. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you. And I'm going to text you as soon as we get done so I can get on your calendar. Thank you so much. Great job. Bye, you guys. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.